Hey, unconventional conventionists. Thanks for tuning in to Time Warp Radio, the Rocky Horror Picture Show movie by minute podcast, where with each 7 minutes, we can make you a fur. I am Haley Mervini.
And I'm Katie Tomini.
And we are your resident criminologists on all things Rocky.
We are so excited to break this movie down. It is something that we've been watching over and over and over again for years.
Years.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you
years.
ever conceptualize how many years you may have been spending watching Rocky Horror straight through?
Oh, no. That's painful to think about, honestly.
I just like thinking that, I've been watching it for a really long time. I don't like thinking about how much time I've actually spent watching it, though.
Absolutely not. But with all that being said, we are actually in one of the younger generations that is totally obsessed with this film. But we're not the babies anymore.
Nope.
There is a whole new generation that a lot of them are actually just watching Rocky for the first time in quarantine.
And they're excited about the prospect of going to performances once quarantine's lifted. And, this was just the perfect idea for us to come along. And we wanted to thank the Star Wars Movie by Minute podcast for their brainchild, or if I may, tank child. And so thank you, Pete the Retailer and Alex Robinson, for just having such an ingenious method of analyzing these films. And also, just as a personal thanks, I loved the Shining 237 podcast. So thank you, Susan Tekla-Kuklinska. If any or all of you guys want to come tell us what you think of Rocky, or if you have personal conspiracies, personal ideas on what the movie's about, please reach out to us.
Or even just share in your fandom with us.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because there's so much to unpack with Rocky Horror.
Oh, absolutely.
So
a lot
much.
of people just think that it's mindless fun and it's just nonsense on the screen, but going back and rewatching it in our little chunks that we're watching it in, you get so much more out of that movie.
Every line, every piece of dialogue can be interpreted. I know I have a personal theory on Janet. I know Katie must have her personal theories. But we're going to get to all of them in 7-minute chunks, consecutively, in order, front to back.
Every single Wednesday, starting next Wednesday, the 26th.
Every other Wednesday.
Yes, every other Wednesday.
We are so excited that we're not doing it in a single minute, so not exactly a movie by minute podcast, if I might say, but the 7 minutes ends up being eerily accurate to key turning points in the movie. So we're excited to get to the character introspectives. We're going to get into anything you could think of. We are going to cover it. I'm talking the callbacks, the shadow casting stage directions.
We're going to cover it all.
All of it. Because everyone remembers their first time.
Absolutely.
Do you, Katie, Do you remember your first time watching Rocky Horror?
I do. I was actually at a sleepover with one of my really close friends in elementary school, maybe middle school, maybe. And we all went over to her house, and her older brother said, "It's a sleepover, we gotta have movie night." So we ended up doing a triple feature of Rocky Horror Picture Show, then Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and then ending it all with Party Monster. And if you haven't seen any of those movies, then you're behind on the times.
Oh my gosh. No,
Life-changing.
Hedwig is one of my favorite movies, and like we totally would have been best friends in middle school, or like I would have been like sitting in like the other side of the cafeteria and been like looking at like you and your cool group of friends and being like, dang, I wish I could hang out with those kids. They look really cool. But I hang out with you now and we talk about Rocky Horror all the time. And I've told you about the first time I've seen Rocky Horror.
No, I don't think so.
So I was in high school, so I was probably 13 or 14.
Okay.
And I'm in the living room in my childhood home, and I'm with my high school best friend, and we just want to watch Rocky because I think we probably heard about it on Tumblr.
Oh, so you were the cool high schoolers who knew about Tumblr.
Barely. It was like, oh my gosh, the code, to think about the code of Tumblr now, then, oh my gosh, it's just such a strange website to recall. But, like, so we're watching it, and my mom, who is very Catholic, is not watching it with us, but, like, on the other side of the wall.
So she's aware that you're watching Rocky?
Yes, she's so aware that, like, it's so painful to know that she's waiting for the awkward moment to happen. You know, like, I can tell she has her personal, like, boundary of, okay, they're getting a little, I'm not so comfortable with this anymore.
So she was okay with the man in lingerie.
She was, let's just say I could feel what the look on her face was from the next room over. And I was still into it, but it got to, the very, it's taboo, that bedroom scene.
Oh.
Where you see so much.
The backlit bedroom scene.
I don't want you to spoil it for those who've not seen, but it's scandalous. And that was where my mother said, no more.
Absolutely
and
not.
Turned it off. And I didn't see it again until I maybe saw another like home viewing, because I definitely dressed up as Janet for Halloween one year.
No.
When I'm like, I had to have been like 16 or 17 years old. I don't know what any of our parents were thinking, looking at this photo of us. Oh boy. We were children walking around half naked, not knowing any better, because we've only seen the movie, I don't know, 2 times, 3
Your
times.
Catholic mother must have been mortified.
I was very tasteful. I was wearing the lab coat over, so I was
perfect.
I was being very modest for a Janet,
Was it a T-length lab coat, just to the mid-shin?
I want to say we may have borrowed the lab coats from somebody, because no, maybe we bought. I don't know. I
had to
repressed
cover enough
it.
skin, though.
Yeah, it was definitely a long lab coat, and then this is like Albuquerque in October, so that was a fun outfit to wear until about 6:30 p.m. And then I was wishing I'd had clothes on.
Oh, yeah. I'm from the high desert myself, so I definitely understand what you mean. Those desert nights are freezing. As soon as the sun goes down, all heat evaporates off of the face of the planet, and you are left with just icy winds that chill you to the bone.
And I'm like, this is fun. Rocky Horror, woohoo! and then I didn't see it as like a shadow cast until I was probably 18 at the Guild in Albuquerque, which is like my hometown art house cinema, and I love it. And I remember my virgin initiation. I remember that virgin sacrifice. I remember what I was wearing, like everything about it's crazy because I think you brought it up earlier that Rocky can be so raucous and wild that people are quick to say that it's meaningless and that it's just a wild party that we're having fun watching.
Which, hey, for your first time in theater, that's exactly what it is, and that's exactly what it should be.
Exactly, and that's what I think keeps people coming back.
Yeah.
And part of the virgin initiation has people stand in the audience, and our MC for the evening will ask if you've watched the movie more than 500 times to sit down. And like, yeah, there's always like the one or two boyfriends that got drug along that are like, I don't know what the fuck is happening right now, and I'm gonna sit my ass down because I don't want to like.
And then you have the Transylvanians hidden in the audience that make them stand back up because they see that V from a mile away. They probably wrote that V.
Don't you hide. Don't you hide.
We will find you.
But yeah, you have people who have gone 500 times authentically.
Oh, yeah.
And have seen a shadow cast with performers 500 times.
Yeah, we have audience members that I remember from when I was on my first shadow cast that went to every single show there. And now they come to my new shadow cast. And they've been to every single show there as well. Like, I'm sure they've seen the movie more times than I have, and I've been doing this for 10 years.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And everyone has a theory. Everyone has their own interpretation of why Brad and Janet get seduced so easily, why Frankenfurter is messing with the creation of life. Like,
yeah, totally.
These are heavy themes that when we're having a good time partying and acting it out,
you don't even think about it.
No, it doesn't even cross your mind that literally, like, Frank makes a test tube baby in front of everybody.
Or as you said prior, a
tank child.
Oh God, I hate it. I really hate Tank Child, so thank you for that, Haley. But speaking of acting it out, we're actually both part of a shadow cast. Haley's actually in two of them right now. We both perform at the Frida Cinema on Chaos. That's in Santa Ana, California. So if you're ever in the area, come stop by, say hi. And then Haley also performs with
Midnight Insanity out in Long Beach. And Katie hasn't mentioned that she also has spent a lot of time casting Rocky. So I hope we bring a unique perspective to this kind of deep dive of a podcast, because I know I look for certain performances on stage. Like, you can't just be following along whatever Susan Sarandon is doing. Like, her performance is iconic, and that's only half the job to get it right.
Yeah.
You have to be be Janet, and we're going to kind of go over what we think that means.
The motivation of each character, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And that comes a lot from this being originally a stage production. It was actually originally not quite a Broadway show, but it was a stage show first, and then Richard O'Brien very faithfully adapted it to a movie, and I think a lot of his initial concepts really translated well.
Oh my gosh, it's so faithful. And I think it's so funny. Like, Frankenfurter, when you look at a picture of him, okay, if you have never seen the movie and you're just shown a picture of Frankenfurter from Sweet Tea, he's like a character. He kind of looks like a twisted clown of sorts, because...
Funny you mentioned clowns with Tim Curry in the same sentence.
I mean, does he have a theme in his career? I don't know, maybe. Well, we might find that out.
We might.
He's wearing, like, white clown makeup on his face, and his hair is manic, and he's hairy, and...
He's got these bright red overdrawn lips.
Yeah, so it's... You don't get the appeal, but when you're watching the movie, you're sitting in the audience questioning why you're getting turned on right now.
Oh, absolutely. If you say that you are not attracted to Frankenfurter...
No, if you say that he is not your sexual preference, period...
Then you're either lying or you haven't watched this movie yet, and you can watch it with us.
Yes, exactly. And we are so excited to be bringing this to you guys, and we're so excited that you guys are joining us on this journey. It's going to be a wild ride. It's going to be so much fun. And be sure to follow us on all of our social media.
We have Instagram at Time Warp Radio. You can follow us on Facebook, Time Warp Radio Podcast. If you have any fun stories, burning questions, any comments, you can always email us at timewarpradiopod@gmail.com. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can head over to Patreon. It's patreon.com/timewarpradio. And then last but not least is our blog spot. This is where we're going to be posting all of our reference photos, all of our reference material. We're going to be posting behind the scenes pictures, maybe even a few pictures of us. So please be sure to check out our blog spot.
She's being modest. This blog spot we really hope to build into quite a resource for folks learning roles, learning the movie, wanting to get more into cult classics. And our resources we always hope will be free, and this is a labor of love. We're just two like total Rocky nerds that we just can't help but want to talk about. Would you say it's your favorite movie?
I would say that it's the movie I've watched the most times.
But I mean, does that just like make it your favorite movie by default? You know,
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one.
We will find out through the course of this if it is in fact our favorite movies of all time. So yeah, we're excited to have you guys, and remember,
on Wednesdays we watch Rocky.
Bye. Bye.
Please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It really helps us out, and we appreciate all your feedback. We'll see you next time.